Exhale, my friends. It is Friday today. If you're watching this afterwards, then happy whatever day of the week it is. But for us here on Friday, I gotta say, it's been such a rip-roaring week. Tons of news each and every day. All of it very exciting. A lot of it we can speculate on and discuss. And I just want to thank you all. It's been a really, really fun time to create content. And it's been an even more fun time to be a gamer. So thank you. Just thank you for being you and showing up each and every day. It's my pleasure to create content for you. And with that said, you're wondering why I'm wearing this hat again, aren't you? It's because I'm a greasy gamer nerd. And yeah, I'm wearing the same outfit as yesterday. It's Friday, man. Fuck it. All right. More importantly is March 26th. What's going on then? Well, it looks like there is some type of event going on for Xbox. And I thought this would be worth covering. A lot of people have been asking, Matty, you an Xbox channel now? Hello, everybody. It is I, Matty, who has talked about Obsidian, Bethesda, In Exile for the last decade. So all those being under Xbox, it's why I'm talking about Xbox more. But Xbox has RPGs, so I'm going to go where the RPGs are. You know how my channel works. But just know, when Xbox takes a shit, I'm not going to go ahead and make a video about it. But in this case, I thought it was relevant given the recent news and a lot of people speculating about Starfield. So we're going to be going through an article from Windows Central Gaming about, of course, this March event, this gameplay event that we've been talking about since about a couple of weeks ago. Now, you may recall in an older video, if you've been up to date on your Matty content, which is that Tharot tweeted out saying Microsoft is apparently holding a, quote, what's new for gaming, end quote, event on March 23rd, to be followed by a, quote, what's new for Windows, end quote, event. No date for that yet. Now, the title of the article from Windows Central Gaming is Microsoft may have an Xbox gaming showcase planned for March 26th. So, with that in mind, get comfortable, get cozy, take a breath, a snack, a drink maybe. You deserve it. It's Friday. Exhale one more time. And let's read. A short while ago, noted Microsoft expert Paul Tharot tweeted that Microsoft is planning a series of events in the near future revolving around Xbox and Windows, with the gaming show slated for March 23rd. More recently, through our own sources, plural, it seems that this event looks to have shifted slightly to Friday, March 26th. We've heard that the show may offer a glimpse at some upcoming Xbox games for 2021 and possibly beyond. Details on exactly what this event will contain are scant for the time being, so it may be wise to temper expectations. It may be a tech and platform-oriented gaming event with some smaller game announcements or something more. So we've been expecting this for a while. Microsoft, I wasn't sure if they were actually going to go through with some type of event because I felt Bethesda as a whole was event. I mean, we just got 20 Game Pass games today. And funny enough, they timed that out on a Friday. I just realized that. That is awesome. A lot of Friday energy in this video, if you couldn't tell. Anyway, the expectation has been this gameplay event, similar to maybe something like we saw last May, where they were doing the, I put it in quotes, next-gen gameplay event that showed literally no gameplay. But I expect something along those lines, where you see some under-the-radar titles kind of popping in and out, and some more noteworthy names in there. I thought Scorn was one that was pretty interesting. The Ascent, would love to see more of The Ascent. If you haven't looked into The Ascent, it's a top-down action twin-stick shooter with RPG elements. It's got a lot of verticality, which no twin-stick shooter ever has. So there's a lot of potential with this one. I would love to see more of this with some type of release date. My general expectation right now, and we'll dive deeper and deeper into this rabbit hole, is something along the lines of the Xbox Wire post that we saw earlier this year, where Microsoft detailed all of their current third-party exclusive games coming to Xbox in 2021. So I'm more so expecting updates on games like that. And that was pretty exciting because you had stuff like a new Vermintide game. It goes under a different name, Dark Hammer or something along those lines, but it comes from the developer Fat Shark, who's known for the Vermintide games. Of course, there is actually She Dreams Elsewhere. This is an RPG Maker game, and I find RPG Maker fascinating in its own way. Kind of reminds me of when I use Sony Vegas. It's a really inferior editing software, but if you know all of the tricks and tools and tips to it, it's actually kind of a have good editing software, so familiarity will breed excellence, and I'm curious to see what someone's doing with RPG Maker, so that's exclusive. And so there's a lot of cool little under-the-radar games that Xbox is working on, and I think that'll round out this year if you combine that with Bethesda, and of course this fall with Halo. I'm expecting Forza, maybe Starfield, but let's keep reading this article, and we'll dive a little bit deeper into this conversation. In a recent interview on the Ion Lords podcast, Xbox's Director of Program Management, Jason Ronald, was asked what game coming this year has him the most hype. In response, Ronald says, quote, "Not all games that are being released this year have been announced," end quote. So yes, I don't want to keep repeating information, but this is another aspect alongside the whole Thurrott tweet that I thought was relevant to this conversation, where Jason Ronald did say, hey, we still have more stuff to announce. That was to be expected with us not even being in the summer yet, where most announcements for the fall happen to really push the holiday sales. But it's very well possible that we see some bigger reveals here in March. I think it depends on a couple of things. How far along a game is where we know it's going to get out. Because we saw, of course, PlayStation and Nintendo do some pretty bold events where they did on their Direct and State of Play saying, hey, these are coming out within like the first half of the year. And so there was an expectation set. We don't really know if Xbox is going to have that sort of precedent set. It looks like they're going all in on E3 and that time period, which I think is a safe expectation, because for me, I'm looking for updates on Avowed, Fable, of course, Starfield. I'm looking for them to go all out at E3. So the major question here is, how much do you hold back at that type of event, and what do you show here? That's why I'm saying check out this Xbox Wire article. Some of these games here do look cool. Are they going to knock your socks off? Are they as exciting as Halo Infinite or something along those lines? Probably not, but still, I think they're really good additions to an exclusive library for Xbox. Speaking of Halo Infinite, this was a game that a lot of people are looking for a re-reveal on. Now, I know that 343 promised monthly updates, screenshots, those type of things, and as they got closer to the summer, they would do a big reveal. But one thing that's quite peculiar about this is when you look at Halo 5's timeline, about a year before its release, they already had a beta out. And in this time, we saw the game last August, and then they pulled it from its official release, of course, and delayed it an entire year into the fall of this year, which I think was the smart move. But point being is, they're in a very awkward position where they need to have a substantial re-reveal, but then they also need to have a beta to, you know, test out the multiplayer and make sure that's good and get fan feedback. And if you do it in the summer, which I'm kind of expecting like a shadow drop beta, if you do something along those lines, I'm at least saying I don't think they're going to be able to get much player feedback in time for launch compared to something like a Halo 5, where a lot of that was accounted for beforehand because they had about a year to tinker on things. But that's just my interpretation. Still something to keep an eye out on, maybe a verbal update for Halo Infinite. But let's talk Starfield. Let's talk Elden Ring. This is the month of the mysterious games that we know absolutely freaking nothing about, but we want to know more. So Elden Ring, evolution of the From Software Dark Souls formula, horseback riding, a little bit more open. That's about all we've got. When it comes to Starfield, it's a sci-fi RPG. We have some leaked screenshots. That's it. Everyone wants to see more. There is hype for these games that like I said, we know nothing about. Isn't it kind of weird? Gamers are weird, right? I'm weird. I'm excited for both these games. And I mean, granted, with Elden Ring, I have a little bit more to go off of, but pedigree speaks a lot in this industry. So people are looking for more from Bethesda Game Studios, more from Software. I think that anticipation, funny enough, kind of just bumped up a notch thanks to Cyberpunk and its failed launch. Even if the game, for many of us, myself included, I thought it was great, it's still one of those things where people want something that comes out clean, it's enjoyable, you can have that discourse with another player without talking about bugs, glitches, broken stuff. You get it. So anyway, the question is, will we see these games at this summer showcase? In my opinion, no. Not Starfield. Elden Ring, maybe. Starfield, though, no. Starfield 100% this summer. I heard, of course, and I'm going to continue to reiterate it until I have a source tell me otherwise, but multiple sources have said this is the year for Starfield. And I'm not talking about reporting it online, like people telling me this is the year for Starfield. Feel free to hold me accountable. That's why I do this stuff, right? I was pretty accurate about a lot of my reporting in the last year, But yeah, this is the year. They're going for it. And if that's the case, then they're not going to change the trend. They're not going to reveal this earlier. If they do, it'll catch the whole industry off guard. But given the fact that it is a BGS game and there is enough chatter about Starfield, anytime Xbox is talked about, people are asking about Starfield. So I genuinely think that it's going to be on a lot of people's radar, even though it's a brand new IP. And since that's all the case, yeah, we're going to get one of those 5-month marketing windows. That is my assumption. That is not what has been told to me. But I totally imagine that Starfield will 100% be revealed in June. We'll get some type of teaser in late May, like Bethesda Game Studios likes to do, typically with Fallout 76 and Fallout 4 on Twitter. I will lose my shit, and then we will ensue in the cycle of discussion for that game, and it'll be awesome. I'm really hyped for a BGS launch this year. But what I'm saying is temper your expectations for Starfield, all right? Unless myself or anyone else reports otherwise, wait until the summer, and maybe then we'll get more reports on how the development of that game is going. Because, of course, with us being in the pandemic still, although vaccinations are going out more and more, and things have a chance to get back to normal sooner rather than later, it does still impact the development cycle of games, and we still are going to need some time to get back to a sense of normalcy, of course. So all of that accounted for, Starfield could still have a chance to slip, but absolutely what I've been told is they're going for it. It's happening. And so with that, let's take a look at Elden Ring. So there was a great report from Game Informer that took some of Jeff Grubb's work and kind of condensed it all. So the title is No Elden Ring News This Month Due to the Recent Leak. Before I go any further, I don't get this. I don't understand how a game leak delays your game, especially when the internet was collectively shitting their pants in excitement. They were like, yo, my pants, I gotta change them because there is so much poop in here. I am excited. I was there, man. I was there. We made a video on it here on the channel. That leak was pretty hype because a lot of people were upset saying, man, wow, FromSoft dropped the ball. It looks like Dark Souls. Bruh. It literally says in an interview, it's gonna be an evolution of Dark Souls. I don't know why people don't read anymore. But anyway, let's read this article and talk a little Elden Ring. In a new video, VentureBeat journalist Jeff Grubb suggests that the rumored March reveal is no longer happening because of the earlier leak. In an earlier video from GamesBeat Decides, a combination of sources told Grubb that an Elden Ring showcase of some kind would be happening by the end of March. He was cautious about stating that the end of March timeline was not a set date and could change at any time. That was a pretty safe call to make because in his latest video, the situation has reportedly changed due to the trailer leak. While a trailer is happening, it has to at some point, right? I agree. His latest video on his personal channel, linked here, Grubb talks about a pushback in plans for the trailer's official debut. While the latest possibility may disappoint for some, it shouldn't be that much longer for a larger trailer reveal if one was already planned for this month. With the rumored Microsoft showcase allegedly happening later this month, the road to E3 is getting ready to kick off. That means months of new announcements and reveals are imminent, including more on the elusive Elden Ring. That is perfectly put. It's why I used it, because it's exactly how I felt. Yeah, I 100% think we're getting it sooner rather than later. I don't think it'll be at Microsoft's event, because if it's been delayed out of March and Microsoft's event's in March, you do the math, you get it. So that's fine if they re-reveal it at some other point in time. Also, I don't know why anyone would expect it at the Microsoft event, because we know about Bandai Namco Next, which is, or is it Namco Bandai Next? That name just, it eludes me. I play the Dragon Ball Super card game. I play a bunch of Bandai games, and I always flip the name. Which way is it? Anyway, they're doing their own showcase, okay? It's not going to be at the Xbox showcase, so temper your expectations there as well. But once again, I'm going to reiterate so that everyone is in the right headspace, because of course, if this event is announced, we will stream it, we will react to it. But I personally am 100% expecting for something along the lines of those Xbox Wire exclusives, the third-party stuff, to be there, to get updates on that. Maybe some surprises there. Is this the time we finally see KOTOR? That would be kind of weird, right? Because of the backwards compatibility. I don't know. KOTOR is still 4x3 on Xbox. That's all I'm saying. So, why did I have to mention it? I'm kind of hyped. Okay, I'm going to stop myself. I'm going to be smart and just stop my roll here. So with that, I leave it in your hands. What do you think of all of this? Let me know in the comments down below. Fire away. Other than that, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram. Those links are in the description down below. Big thank you to all the patrons, all the members who continue to support the hell out of the content here. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.